Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Star Wars Wednesday from the Toybox edition. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with Star Wars The Black Series Rebels, first release of Ahsoka Tano. Let's get into it! Let's take a look at the figure and her accessories. And here we have handy dandy tweezers if we need them. Which we will for the handles, but not for the lightsaber blades. And they are kind of hard to see because they're a translucent, very, I don't necessarily want to call it white, but it's closer to white than anything else. It appears to have a very slight blue tinge to it, but I could be wrong. And it's got that post that was standard for lightsaber blades during the time that it was made. Those small, easy to snap off one. I'm glad to see they're moving in the direction to change that. This blade is mostly the same end on it. The only difference is, just like in the show, they are two different lengths, which is how it should be. Now, we'll take a look at her lightsaber hilts, and I do believe it's all painted. Maybe, well, it might be molded in this color right there, and then everything else is painted. The silver is a bit sloppy, perhaps, but it's got some buttons on it. It's got a hook there for a loop, the ring. And you'll notice this one is slightly curved. It's not warped or anything. That's how it's supposed to be. And then port here on the end. And she does have storage for these that we will get to momentarily. And again, same hoop or D-ring, whatever on here. And I do believe that silver is a paint app, and it's got one little button on here that's a different color, but for the most part it's all in silver. And then port here. And something to note on these lightsabers is, like most lightsaber hilts are rounded, this one is not. It's more oblong, going this way. So now let's take a look at the figure herself. And this is not the reissue. This is the original first issue of the figure, so it doesn't have the updated face printing technology used on it. But I still think this one looks pretty darn good. The paint apps on it, the eyes are pretty crisp for the most part. The lips and the, I'm assuming, tattoos or coloration, the design on her face. And then we've got some paint apps up here, and then on her head tails, which I don't think on Togrutas they're called Liku. I think they're called something else, but I can't think of it right off. So there's that. And of course, this is what she's supposed to look like as an adult, according to Rebels. But Rebels was slightly stylized from the animation style that they used in the Clone Wars. Clone Wars was stylized as well, but this one was stylized in a different way. So her appearance in Rebels really doesn't match up to what she looks like in the live action now, but that's okay. I like the way it looks. But anyway, so very nice on the head all around. Even though it's not the updated version, it does have very nice paint apps all around on the head, and it does look pretty darn good. It's not, I don't see any slop really on the head. It's very crisp looking even. So we got a little paint app around this armor piece here. some colored buttons or whatever here, and some silver for buttons here, and some silver peeking through here and around here and around these other armor pieces, and these hooks for lightsabers, and these armor pieces on her arms, and even these buttons on both sides are painted. And then she's got a soft goods skirt here, and then I'm guessing this is paint apps here and on the top of the boots as well, although that line is also sculpted into the foot. And then some silver outlining on these armor pieces on the back, and really that's the only paint apps to speak of other than on the head, which we already talked about. So let's take a look at her articulation. Because of this big head tail right here, she doesn't really look up. Because the ones in the front, she doesn't look down much. No chicken neck. She does have a very slight bit of waggle. She can't really turn her head at all. So there is that. At the shoulder, slightly past 90 degrees, she can raise it up. 360 degree rotation. Single hinge and swivel at the elbow, swivels around 360 degrees and gives you approximately a 90 degree bend. At the wrist, 360 degree rotation on an in and out hinge, and up and down hinge on the other side. Nothing at the waist, but she does have a cut here where the chest and the abdomen meet, and it gives her all kinds of hula motion there. 360 degree rotation. She can lean forward that far, she can lean back that far, and she can lean left and right. So that's pretty cool. At the hips, because of the soft goods, she only can give you that much of the splits. She can give you, or the leg does move forward that far, and it goes back that far, which, wow, that is pretty good, especially on a Star Wars figure, especially on a female Star Wars Black Series figure. So that's pretty cool. Also, there is a cut here at the upper thigh, and, well, I said there is. No, there is. Mine appears to be stuck, but if it wasn't stuck, it would give you a full 360 degree rotation there. Double hinged pinned knee, and it gives you that much bend. And because of the sculpt here on the boot is why they didn't give it a deeper cut, to give it more articulation there. So nothing at the boot cut, or nothing for a boot cut. At the ankle, tilts down that far, tilts up that far, and forward facing pin for rocker. Let's see if the other thigh swivel is stuck. It is not. So see, it does. I wasn't telling the story. It does have a cut there, and it does swivel around 360 degrees. Now, as far as storage for our lightsabers, when they are off, she does have these hooks on the side here, and these hoops just kind of hook over there. You have to be kind of careful with putting them on and off here because the fit is a little bit tight, and they could snap, and I would not want that to happen to mine or anybody else's. So there's that. And then as far as the lightsaber blades, the longer handle, or at least this is the way I always did it, longer handle gets the longer blade. And there's how that looks together. And then the shorter handle gets the shorter blade. And there we go, my friends. That is a look at Ahsoka and her accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have what I like to think of as the main cast of Rebels All Black Series. We have Chopper, Ezra Bridger, Sabine Wren, Grand Admiral Thrawn, Hera Syndulla, Kanan Jarrus, Zeb Aurelius, and Ahsoka. For our final set of comparisons here, we have Star Wars The Black Series Rebels Ahsoka, with, from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. Our final Black Series comparison, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on Star Wars The Black Series Rebels Ahsoka Tano, I have to say, for the most part, this first release of Ahsoka is fine. I do, at some level, wish that I had upgraded when the newer paints came out for this figure, so that, you know, all my crew of the Ghost would match, or all the main characters of the Ghost, that is. She wasn't actually crew, was she? Maybe in a couple episodes. But as it stands, the only one that really bothers me in that subline for Rebels is Kanan. He's the one that looks the, I guess, fakest. You know, he and Hera and Ahsoka here are, I have the original releases of, and I did not feel the need at the time to upgrade them. And with this Ahsoka and with Hera, it's fine. I think they still fit in even with the upgraded paints on the other figures, because they just, on the head and the face and everything for this one, they did such an excellent job. The mold is good, the paint apps are good. The only thing, you know, some of the silver outlines on the armors, there's a little bit of slop with that, and then on the lightsaber handles there might be a little bit of paint slop with that as well. But overall, I'd still have to say this figure holds up. But of course, I don't have both in hand to compare to see how much the other one is actually improved, if any at all. And, you know, I realize that, you know, people may look at this and not have watched Rebels, and, well, that doesn't look like Ahsoka as an adult at all, because in The Mandalorian, she doesn't look like that. Well, that's true. They did take some liberties. And you might say they took liberties on Rebels, as the art directions is slightly different than, say, the Clone Wars. And dare I say, it skews more towards, a little towards concept art territory, because there were a lot of the designs in there that came from Macquarie's concept art. Some of the vehicles, Zeb, you know, that was what Macquarie imagined Chewbacca to look like. And thank goodness they did change it. I don't think that would have worked out well in live action at the time. So, but again, this figure is fine, and she's, I don't know, I haven't looked, but I would assume she was a little cheaper than the upgraded figure, the newer paint version of this figure, the repaint or the reissue, however you want to describe it. And I don't know that there's, but if there is a price difference and this one is cheaper and you really want to go for a few bucks cheaper, you know, you can go for this one. Or if you want to pay the extra few bucks, you know, go ahead and do that. But for my collection, unless they really do some major upgrades for this version of Ahsoka, this one is going to do it for me. Well, that does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.